here we go. Into Darkness. I know I've been looking forward to this all day, all night, all week. Into Darkness.
There was absolutely nothing that I liked about that movie. Nothing. I thought it was terrible. I thought the writing was terrible. I thought the plot had too many holes in it. They completely took The Wrath of Khan, which is the best movie.
Your favorite character, too.
Period. Best movie above Star Trek and everything, because even a person that's never watched Star Trek could watch Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan with William Shatner and crew. It's a great movie. It has action. It
no matter
has
what,
a
right?
good story. Yeah, no matter what. It's the best movie ever.
Yeah.
I mean, if I got stranded in a desert island with electricity and I could only watch one movie over and over, it'd be Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan.
I got you.
And then I'd listen to AC/DC because I love AC/DC.
So it was a losing battle from the moment they started writing it.
If you remember, and you may have not watched this original show from the original Star Trek, but there was a movie where they ran into Khan, Nooney, and Singh the first time. It's called Space Seed.
No, I don't think so.
They come up on this ship. It's adrift in space. It's from the year 1996, and that was a spaceship, which they had their time kind of messed up because, you're talking 60s versus the future and blah, blah, blah. It was these criminals on this ship called the Botany Bay.
Okay.
Botany Bay?
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Botany Bay?
Yeah.
We got to get out of here. Anyway, I can quote that Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan all day long. I couldn't tell you one thing that was quoted in the Into Darkness. But anyway, the Botany Bay was named after a penal colony in Australia where they put all the prisoners. It's like, imagine Escape from New York. We're going to have this island or this little continent, and we're going to put all the criminals on there, and that's where they're going to be. Well, Khan was part of what they called the eugenics war when they were trying to make super soldiers to fight World War III.
Your knowledge.
So, I know. There's books about it and everything.
Yeah.
So Khan was captured. He was a Muslim type. I don't know what to call those people. What is the correct name? The
Middle Easterners?
The Middle Easterner, and had the turbans and all that crap. And they almost took over the world. And there was a group of them. So they captured them, said, we got to get rid of these people because the death penalty, ooh. That's another thing about the death penalty in Star Trek that I have a problem with.
Right.
Because they'd rather commit death than break the Prime Directive.
I got you.
Anyway, they loaded them on this spaceship called the Botany Bay, shot into space. Kirk and them come up on it, don't know anything about it. They're in cryogenic freezing. They unfreeze Khan, and then, of course, he's back to where he was 100 years before, and wants to take over the Enterprise and take over the galaxy. Well, in Star Trek Into Darkness, I wish they would have went with that concept. They did not. All of a sudden, you have this guy, and this is after the opening where they go to freeze the volcano and all that, which was good.
Yeah, I was going to say, that is a fantastic, because I felt like that was original Star Trek. They kind of mess up the Prime Directive, but he saves Spock's life.
Right.
The starship coming out of the damn water, amazing.
A starship cannot go in the water, Randy.
Yeah, but it did.
Yeah.
This is the Kelvin timeline,
That's
Sean.
right, I know.
It can go in water, obviously.
Yeah. Yes, there were some great visual scenes. I loved it when the aliens are drawing the circle at the end, and it's the Enterprise because they got to see the ship, and they got, of course, it screwed Kirk up. Anyway.
Right, okay.
But
so he's demoted. All right, go ahead.
Let me go back to my Space Seed. If they would have went with Space Seed, where they would have run into Khan accidentally and just went with that storyline without totally group raping with upside down pineapples up somebody's ass, what they did with Into Darkness.
You're talking about Marcus. You didn't like him being a rogue admiral? And
no, he was the beginning of Section 31, which is a big storyline in all Star Trek.
Right.
So, in Wrath of Khan, there was no Marcus. There was Carol Marcus, which is the chick that ended up on there that was his daughter.
Right.
But this is the thing about the Kelvin timeline Star Trek movies that I don't like. They go against what Gene Roddenberry originally set for Star Trek. No rogue officers, no renegades, no piracy. It's all, we're going to run into problems that are Earth-like, but different. So anyway, if they would have went that way, I might have accepted it. But they completely took the greatest movie ever made, Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, ripped it to pieces, let their dog piss on it, put it back together with duct tape, and they run out of duct tape and they just get regular Scotch tape, and it's all screwed up and it's brown and wrinkled up on the ends and has nothing to do with the original storyline. But all of a sudden, let's go with the whole emotional thing where the warp core is screwed up, and instead of Spock going to save everybody, it's Kirk, and they're swapped roles. And I just thought it was, leave it alone. Come up with something original.
Okay, let me ask you something.
Okay.
What if the movie was exactly the way it was, but Khan was a different character?
You're getting with that I don't like Cucumber Patch.
I am, because it's
I don't like
Khan's
Cucumber
story.
Patch.
You don't like the way they did Khan's story.
And-
but would the
right.
story be good if it was a different character?
No, what's his real name? I call him Cucumber Patch.
Let's just call him Doctor Strange.
Yeah, there you go. Doctor Strange is a great actor.
Yes.
And he did great, but Khan was not a European. Well, I'm going to blow up the Enterprise after I have my cup of tea and my crumpet. Oh, here we go. No. They made him too evil, diabolical.
I got
Khan was, the original Ricardo Montalban Khan was evil, but he kept it to himself. He wasn't all Virgil, and he wasn't so obvious about it. Because when they picked him up in Space Seed, he was like this really awesome prince from this country, and the women loved him, and this woman, Marlena Moreau, automatically fell in love with him, and she ends up getting killed and all that. So, but
man, gosh, Sean, I love the scene of them running from Marcus and Khan actually helping them.
Oh, and they're going from ship to ship and all
to
that?
ship,
Yeah.
and finding a way to manipulate him. And then when Khan takes over Marcus's ship, and how they preserve the bodies. What kind of race is that?
What? They're human.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Oh,
they're
okay.
from Earth.
Oh, okay.
See, they didn't go into that.
No, I had no clue. I thought it was a different race.
That was another thing. No, that was another thing. I didn't mean to cut you off,
No,
but
you're good.
I'm going with your points here. That's another thing that I didn't like about Into Darkness is they made you assume everything.
Yeah.
And,
Or
they're-
like
and,
you-
and they were thinking, well, these sons of guns have already watched all the original Star Trek, so they're going to get the idea. No!
Yeah.
No! It was not. They ruined a great movie by trying to make it something different and adding elements from the movie, the greatest movie on Earth, Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan.
Right.
So, actors are great.
What about Kirk dying and then using Khan to bring him back to life?
No, make it a different storyline.
Oh, you didn't like that?
No, because that didn't happen in the original Star Trek.
Well, I
Wrath
think
of Khan.
right, but I think they're. So you were wanting them to basically redo.
There is.
I don't know, Sean.
They rebooted it, and for your age group, Randy,
Yeah.
they're great movies.
Yes, I love 'em.
understand that. There's the high intensity music, the love scenes, the action, and you do not have knowledge of original Star Trek
Right.
like a lot of us
Right.
originalists now. I've had this same argument with people that know more about Star Trek than I do.
Yeah.
They loved them. Very rarely.
Yeah.
My friend Norm, who used to be part of the USS Haven that comes to Sci-Fi Bartow every once in a while.
Right.
He had this argument with me. It's like, it's Star Trek. They're keeping it going because Star Trek is gone. But every time they try to reboot it or re-come back it makes the originalists like us 50, 60 years old, some 70, hate them.
Would you prefer that they didn't do it? Because obviously they're going to appeal to a younger crowd that goes to the theaters every week.
I'm going to tell you this great argument that I have with a lot of Star Trek fans. Don't reboot them. Continue with the storyline that we already have, because we have some great Star Trek shows. I'm not naming Discovery because it's one of them reboot things.
Right.
You go from the original Star Trek from the 60s, and it bridges off into Next Generation, which went 8, 9, 10 seasons. Loved it.
Right.
Then you go into, that bridged off to Deep Space Nine. They were all spin-offs.
Right.
Then Deep Space Nine bridged into Star Trek Voyager.
Yeah.
Then they skewed it and went back before original Star Trek with Enterprise.
Okay.
That happens before Captain Kirk and the 60s Star Trek. That which we'll do another podcast about that one day because I got holes all in that thing. I have Star Trek fans that love it and hate it. But anyway, they keep going forward. So when originals started here, and then another 100 years, Next Generation, then another 25, then another 25.
Hey, there's our buddy.
That is our buddy, isn't it? He needs it going around a corner. We got this guy drives past my house revving his engine.
A white two-door Miata.
Yeah,
or
that Miata. He goes by Randy because Randy lives like right around the corner from me. He's
Oh
like,
my goodness.
he'll text me because your buddy just passed my house, and I was sort of sending you a warning about it. Anyway, they can continue on from Voyager because when Voyager makes it home, because they were lost in the Delta Quadrant for years,
Right.
and they made it home. They did one little quick 1 hour episode on, yay, we made it home, blah blah, and then they never went on to like what
Explain.
happened to 7 and 9, what happened to, then you got Picard, which has a lot to do with characters from Next Generation, which they have butchered. That's a story for another podcast.
Oh yeah, we can hit that.
So, in my opinion, the only true Star Treks to Star Trek fans and myself, and I wish everybody would understand it, but I understand why they don't, is William Shatner Star Trek up to Catherine Janeway Star Trek. Discovery, Enterprise, Picard, the JJ movies, they should all be said, well, and they mentioned it in Beyond that this is a skewed timeline.
Right.
But that's the only time they've mentioned it. So what if you didn't see the Star Trek Beyond movie, you just went right to Discovery, or not Discovery, but Into Darkness, and you didn't know it was a skewed timeline. So these younger generations that are coming up that have never watched original Star Trek,
They're not going to know about
they're not
that.
going to know about it. They're going to think, oh, god damn, these things are great movies, and look, oh, Kirk dies and all that. Like, no!
Yeah, and I love it, man.
Khan! You know,
Yeah.
Khan.
So how do you rate it? How do you rate Into Darkness?
-5.
-5. That is terrible, Sean. God, I love this movie.
I am mad that you made me watch it.
Yeah.
And luckily, it evidently over the time, with my greasy little chicken grease fingers touching that disc, have deteriorated it. So we'd be watching this, and all of a sudden it'd jump 4 sections down. Then it would jump another 4 sections down. Don't even get me started on the Klingons. The Klingons should not even been in Into Darkness. They should not have been into it. They ruined the Klingons.
What part were they in? Refresh me.
When
in Klingons.
I thought you loved
did.
this movie.
I do, but I
See,
don't.
folks, this is what I'm getting at with original Star Trek people and original Star Trek. We know our Star Trek. These idiots that think J.J. Abrams is like frickin' a Klondike bar dipped in cocaine, flushed in a wrapped around a lemon and squished with a gold brick. But
In my defense, Sean, okay, my defense, I have watched 7 Star Trek movies and 1 Stargate movie in 5 days. They all run together.
okay,
So that's why I have me some notes here so I can bring up, you know. All right. So
-5.
-5. Okay.
If I could go lower, I would.
You
I hated you for making me watch that piece of crap again, and because it started bringing back memories of what I do
Klingons.
remember. The Klingons,
What
they
part-
ruined them.
What part?
When Khan came down a little spaceship because he blew up that library
Yeah,
and he
yep.
made all the admirals get together
Yep.
and he knew that would happen.
Fantastic.
And he went to kill them,
Yeah.
which is a good play on a supervillain.
Yeah.
And then he disappeared. He beamed out right when he was
Oh,
looking
he
at
killed all the Klingons on that planet.
Yeah, not all of them, but he went there to hide.
Right, the ones that had them pinned down.
Right.
He helped and found out that, they have the 76 torpedoes, which he knew was his
crew,
His
and a cryogenic frozen
So he
thing.
gave up after he eliminated the Klingons and protected Kirk and them from the Klingons. Okay.
All right,
So
real quick, then we'll get back to where
Right.
you're going. Dr. McCoy and Carol Marcus beam down to this asteroid with one of the pods, and they're going to try to open it.
Yes.
And he goes, "Dear, I'm going to tell you, I delivered 7 Gorn babies with a C-section. People, the Gorn race are reptiles. They lay eggs. How can you give them a C-section? And those little things bite and bit. How? See, they're playing on the ignorance of this generation. And there's a lot of ignorance in this generation. But you got to watch your Star Trek. Kirk fighting the Gorn guys. We did the commercial about it,
Yeah,
remember?
yeah.
And that is just one little small, tiny element, salt, pepper, in my delicious Star Trek Bloody Mary that I'm drinking
There
this
you go.
morning. But That's just one. Okay, so you're going back to the Klingons.
No, I was just to say, what didn't you like about the Klingons?
They look completely different.
Okay.
They had no honor. Their bat lifts were completely screwed up.
Yeah.
A true Klingon. They did kind of act like Klingons, but when Uhura went up to go and speak Klingonese to them, without the translator, yes, that's the way they would have reacted. But when she was trying to get him with, and there's a political thing in this. There's a man here from Earth that has no honor, and so but the Klingons kept disrespecting Uhura. That was a play on the women don't know what the hell they're talking about. Political, see, me too, see. And these Klingons are the Trump, if you will, of in this scene,
right,
with them talking over the woman. It all goes to the political scene. Don't get political with my Star Trek. Let's just make your own political.
We need to change the name political because it's been political since day one.
Yes, it has.
But when you say political, I think, well, what part of political are you talking about? Because
the right and the left, Randee.
I understand that, but it's been like that since the original Star Trek.
It sure has.
But
original Star Trek went subtle with it.
I got you. Instead of in our face of what's going on right now.
This is it, and this is what you got to listen to.
Yeah.
Original Star Trek was one of the greatest original Star Trek episodes. Is one of the least favorite by the fans. It's called "Let That Be Your Last Battlefield." They come up. This alien comes up on the ship, and he's black on one side and white on the other, right down the middle.
Right.
And he's looking for this criminal, and they find the criminal. And they beams up, and you're watching the whole episode all the way almost to the very freaking last 15 minutes of the show. And he's black and white, and they're fighting to the death. And the cop,
I think I saw this.
One of them that was hunting the criminal, which was not a criminal, he was a political activist.
Right.
But you had to read into this on your own. They were fighting, and they'd shock each other. They had this mysterious power. And Kirk's like, "What do you mean? What do you got going on?" He goes, "Don't you see the difference?" And the black and Kirk goes, "Well, you're black on one side and white on the other. You're both like that." And he goes, "No, Loki is black on the right side. I'm white on the right side."
Oh my God!
So and it's like, oh my God, this is so mind blowing. If you've never watched an episode of original Star Trek, that's a great one. You wouldn't like it. There's not a lot of action.
Right.
They do a lot of talking, but it's very thought-provoking. And that's another thing I want to get with what we're talking about with the Star Treks, JJ versus original. Original Star Trek was thought-provoking. Even the movies.
Yeah.
They didn't just come lay it right out in front of you. Well, here's these guys, and they're different colors, and it's a racist thing. They made you figure it out. J.J. Abrams' Star Trek is, well, here it is in your face. Klingons hate women.
Right.
So they're obviously Republicans. That's my opinion. I don't get political on our show, but
all right,
that's the way I look at it.
Yeah. Okay. So -5.
-5. If I could go lower, I would.
Okay.